Hi everybody. It's a bit early, but we're here. I'm with Danielle. Welcome to Life Strategies with Nat for the Entrepreneurial Woman. And we have a really special guest, really special episode. I can't believe we're already on episode 24. But as you know, every week I come on and I share life strategies, and I sometimes bring in guest experts. And Danielle actually runs an amazing group that I got to be a part of and do a 5-day life strategies session. And we hit it off so well because we have such similar interests, such similar backgrounds, similar journeys. And I really wanted to bring Danielle on, and we thought we would actually meet and do this live together. So hopefully you can hear us, and we want you to be really interactive. So if you have questions as we're going through, because we're going to kind of talk about life strategies, definitely, but as it relates to health and wellness, because Danielle is a health and wellness coach, and she's with Arbonne, but she's going to talk to you. I want her to actually tell her story, so that's how we're going to start. So Danielle, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Danielle Ufland-Westfield. I am from Buffalo, New York. I drove an hour and a half today for us to meet. You drove her to. So we came together, and I'm going to bring you my story. I guess I'm going to start with the middle of my life, because that's where it relates to what we're looking for here. I used to be a corrections officer in New York State, and I did 6 years with that, and I got hurt on the job while I was pregnant, 5 months with my son. And when that happened, I had really messed up my body. I got 10 migraines a month from injuries to my disc in my neck and my back, and I messed up a muscle in my butt that was making my knee give out, so that when I ran or I did stairs, I would fall. And that was ultimately what made me lose the job, was the fact that I could no longer run without falling. And they got rid of me, and because I got hurt on the job, I had all this medical coverage to try to figure out and work through the injuries. And I did 6 years of that while having babies and 10 migraines a month. Someone's on. Hi, Stephen. While having babies, and so I was a functioning migraine, but I barely got out of bed. I didn't get up much besides just to mother. The way I dropped my children off at school was atrocious, and should it be, I hope there's no record of it anywhere. But I really was struggling. The leg was a problem, but the migraines were the worst. So I did 6 years of everything they asked: physical therapy, chiropractic. I had 10 migraines. I took Botox injections, trigger points, every medication. And my girlfriend that I grew up with came to me. We came back together. During this time, I got divorced without a job. So I lost my job, then I lost my marriage, and I had 3 children. And she asked me to try Arbonne's 30 Days Healthy Living. I did that. It was amazing. It changed my life. I lost 7 migraines immediately. That was the clicking point that I realized I can control my ailments with food, and I could live a better life. And from there, I just went forward. I was still struggling with the divorce, and that was a career job. It was 25 years, retired, and I still struggled with that. I did go to college, but I still was struggling. And thankfully, on my journey of health and wellness, I was also working on personal development. And with the personal development, I also was introduced from my girlfriend that introduced me to Arbonne, to a positivity group. And I did this positivity group from my bed every Tuesday night, and I was shut down completely. Already rough around the edges, but corrections taught me to close everything off, no emotion. So I wouldn't show my face, I wouldn't speak, I would just go. Well, by week 3, at the time, I was in a therapist's office for my depression, I guess you could say, my life choices and where I was. And it just wasn't picking me up enough. And this positivity group at that point changed my whole life. I was negative, judgmental. That's the way I grew up. I'm just where I'm from and how we are, hardcore. As part of that, I was taught that vulnerability was weak. And so I just shut all that off. And this group changed that for me. They told me that I needed to be more vulnerable to change, to grow, that I should be more positive, I should look at things, and then life would get better. And I started to do that. And so I started doing all this mindset work with people, that I would come across, luckily on social media. And I did work with them, and I changed my whole life in a year. I picked up myself off the ground. I like to call it sink or swim, and I chose to swim. And at that time, I was growing the business because I was obsessed with what it did for my migraines and my health. And then my mindset was changing, so I just became a totally different person. And I decided to create this group on Facebook called Relate, Reflect, Relearn for my clients. I loved that I was helping them with nutrition and health and wellness, but I wasn't giving them the secret piece of ingredient that I was having to me. So I went to the coaches that I had worked with and I asked them if they would each take a week and do a mini masterclass. And they all said yes. And I had no idea what I was doing. I never heard of a positive affirmation. I didn't even know what that was. So I created this group from nowhere, nothing, didn't know what I was doing. And I just, every day I do a positive affirmation in the morning, and then somebody highlights the week. I introduce them on Sunday. And it's amazing because I didn't know anybody from out of town, let alone out of the country. And I have just, it was only supposed to be 5 weeks. It ended up adding a sixth person at the end. And that was in January. And I'm now in week 25. I'm booked all the way till October. And it's just spiraled out of control. It has nothing to do with Arbonne. It's not a place for Arbonne. It's a place for mindset and getting your body right and your mind right. But Arbonne brought me there, which is why that's part of my story. And I have changed everything because of it. I have seen people close to me change their life from being in the group. I met you,
yep,
which was amazing. I would have never, like, how does this happen? But it works. It's referrals and people, showing me and me searching for more people like me. And I bring them into the group and they share, and we're able to bring all different realms of healing to people in one space. You come in on Sunday, you watch the live, you see if we speak to you, if that's your week, you pay attention, these women and men are bringing you their gifts, and they're giving you a little bit of it, but the value is priceless, and it is priceless, which is even better. And so I just tell people, come in on Sunday, see what we have to offer, and maybe today, the day you're gonna change your life. Maybe something's gonna speak to your soul like it did for me. And so that's my story. That's where I'm at. I'm still, work in progress, but I've grown so much. Everything has changed. My health, my lifestyle change diet-wise is drastically different. I no longer take a ton of medications. I only get 2 or 3 migraines a month from my injuries, and my knee hardly ever gives out anymore. I also used to wake up with nerve damage to my fingers. It would be like tingly, and I don't have that happen unless I go drastically off of my plan.
Yeah.
And so I can just say that is because of inflammation, and I've dropped all inflammation, and life has just gotten better. And here we are.
In St. Catharines.
In St. Catharines, and I came here over the border to meet you.
That's amazing.
And that's what I like the best. I have a connection with everybody. That's why they come into the group. But some of the connections are just stronger, and they become something more. And that's another beautiful thing about this. Which I will mention, I would never have used the word beautiful 2 years ago. Pink, beautiful, girly, things like that were not. And that I did watch on Netflix, Brene Brown, and she said one thing, that to be vulnerable takes courage. And that is what also was another turning point in my life, to realize that I am trying to be a strong woman, and I was in a man's world, and that I was courageous, very courageous, but the vulnerability was missing. And so that's the nice part about it, whether you're man or woman, the vulnerability is what makes you more open.
Yeah.
I believe more loving, and just changes your life. I'm not cranky, upset, more miserable ever anymore.
So this is why I love having people like Danielle come in, and who is a strong, up and coming, she's already there, female entrepreneur that came from a place where, I'm going to say, like, maybe you felt a bit defeated.
Absolutely.
And you said, forget this. I'm not going to let that rain on my parade. I'm going to get myself I'm going to actually surround myself with positive people, because, they say that you are like the 5 people you most hang around with. And I truly believe that if you are in a spot where you really want to be, it starts with the people around you, and then it also starts with your health, like up from the inside out. And I think this is where we also share similar journeys, because I was in wealth management, which is also quite a man's world, and you know, you were missing that vulnerability part. And well, I know I was. Love Brené Brown. Like, I think I've shared it on this page, that Netflix episode. But when you're not healthy from the inside out, like I was suffering from hip pain, I was having tons of headaches, not quite migraines, but it was because of the food I was eating, it was because of the sleep that I was not getting.
Yes.
It was because of, you know, alcohol.
Absolutely.
All the crap, right?
Yes.
That we feed ourselves, and we don't realize how it impacts our mindset, how it impacts our mood, and then if you bring in like the universal laws and just how everything is so connected, and it's not just about us. I mean, you have to put yourself first, but we are part of a bigger picture. And you have to learn to recognize that and really help yourself. So if I was to ask you, Danielle, like what were like 3 life strategies, or like your top 5, I know you touched on some, but if you wanted to kind of highlight or summarize and say, yeah, these were the 3 to 5 things that really like propelled me forward.
Changing my mindset was definitely one of them. I do want to make a key point that I'm not against therapists, but I do believe that everybody personally needs their own journey and their own healing. And I grew up Catholic, but it never spoke to me the way mindset and universe speaks to me. And once I just let myself be more comfortable in the space, it spoke to my soul, and then it was just full speed ahead from there. I think opening yourself to what is possible. And then, you know, I always like to, another thing that I've picked up along the way is when we're young and we go to the playground and we are like honed in on, that's my girl, that's who I'm playing with today. I don't even know my parents are with me anymore. Why don't we do that as adults? Why are we so insecure? Why are we worried about judgment? Why are we intimidated? We should be able to realize that because of the universe, there's a connection for a reason, and you should follow that. And so I do that from now on. If I even see somebody at the store and something's pulling me to say something, I'll say it.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work out, you know. My universe mind isn't totally there yet, I guess, but it usually does work out, and that has helped me grow too, also, because I just get out of my comfort zone more. I've also learned that being number 3 is out of my comfort zone is where all the magic happens. Every time I'm scared out of my mind and I do something beautiful happens afterwards, and I shock myself every time. And there's that word again. It's amazing, but these are just, it goes back to trust, and it does. And so these are key points that I just want to point out that may have nothing to do with this group, but for some reason after my divorce, I'm on this journey. I got divorced from a man that did nothing to me, just wasn't doing it for me, and that's a hard pill to swallow. A lot of people want to know what's wrong with you, why are you doing this, why would you? And I just knew in my heart that was not where I was supposed to be. I wasn't growing, I wasn't changing, I was stuck. And so I made that leap, and I did that. And so my first divorce tattoo was trust. And I have trust right here. And at first I thought it meant something totally different, but it has literally been the embodiment of everything that has happened since I got this tattoo. And I went through a tattoo phase. I love tattoos anyways, but you know, when you got your own money and your own decisions, tattoos are woo! I have another tattoo where I got, and I have no idea why, but I have an affirmation on my body that says I am enough the way that I am. And then I put the moons in all different stages down my side, and I have no idea why. I was drawn to it, but I did it. I couldn't tell you 3 years ago why I got that, but now I've met somebody. We talk about moon energy and alignment, which also speaks to my soul. And so now these things have manifested into where I'm supposed to be. I'm on the right path, and what they stand for means so much more than what they were when I got them. And I just feel like, just because of trust and because of positivity affirmations and believing in energy, that that's why I am where I am right now. I love serving people. I feel like I am growing better as an entrepreneur because money is needed. I'm a single woman, but that's not what drives me. It's serving and changing lives, letting people know that doctors are brilliant and they're amazing, but that's not the final decision. That you control your life. You're the driver, and that you should decide when you're at that appointment whether or not you want to do what they're suggesting. It's not a definite, and I wish I would have turned down a lot of the things that I exposed my body to because it didn't work. It didn't help. I was doing Botox for a whole year. They had just talked me into a second year, and I didn't want to do it, but they were doctors, and I was going to do another round until I came across the various living.
Wow.
And then I just cut it all off. And believe it or not, my migraine doctor now sells Arbonne. Not under me. She joined a girlfriend from out of town.
That's amazing.
There's something to speak for that. I feel like the world is changing. We are becoming more open, and we can see the possibilities and not go with the regular everyday structure.
Yeah.
The path that we think we need to follow. That's where all the magic is. So if it feels like it's something pulling at you, but it's scary, then you should jump.
You should, and I think maybe that's what we should have called today's show. Is like just do it, but then Nike might have
put an X on this immediately. Yes.
but man,
they
have it right. They have it right, and we were talking just earlier, and we were just talking about just life in general and how you don't have it all figured out. Like every day, every moment is yours to make, and it's a choice. Like one decision will take you one way, and the other decision will take you another. And going back to your trust statement, it's like for me, when I know that when I trust myself, when I trust my gut, when I'm in line, like things just work out.
It's hard to explain, but it's true.
If you're doing something that's like, this doesn't feel right, I'm not sure, it usually doesn't feel right, but there's always a lesson, isn't there?
Always. It's so true.
But I mean, and I love that was your first.
It's crazy, right?
It is.
It totally, when I got it, did not stand for what it stood for. I just was a bitter, divorced woman. And it's not exactly what I got it for. It ended up not being the purpose of the thing at all. It has nothing to do with the divorce. It has to do with my journey. And for some reason, that's just another thing. Why most people wouldn't go for a tattoo if they don't know why.
Yeah.
It's something in your body forever. But for some reason, I just was like, no, these are what I want. This is what I want, and I got them. And then later on, they made so much more sense to me, which I actually, again, think is beautiful. Because who knows what I would have got. If I was going after just what it looked like in the moment, who knows? I could have like a bear claw or something on me. Not that anybody who has a bear claw is just not for me.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. And I'm trying to think of this book because I saw something in there. I'll have to come back to that, but it was around like basically changing the habit of being yourself, and it was around like this power that you have, that you're in the moment, you're working through things, but then something happens where you kind of go back and you're like, oh wait, that's what that was trying to teach me. And so you're kind of even responsible, like your current self is also responsible for your past self in a way of changing those patterns. And I think that's what most people struggle with when they're so ingrained, they feel like they're so stuck that they can't move. It really is just your power to just say, enough is enough, I'm doing this, I've got this. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be like joining a positivity group. It can be changing your diet slightly. It can be having more fruits, having more veggies. Like, it can be little things that make a huge difference.
That's my thing. Dare to be different. And if it comes in your mind, it's there for a reason, and you should think more about it. You shouldn't chew anything. You shouldn't stuff anything. Whatever comes to you is coming. It's your intuition.
Yeah.
And that's the universe again, and that's there to show you, lead you, and you should definitely follow it. Because the other thing I learned is I used to think that failures were like destroying of people, and that's not true. To be successful in any realm, even of your life, whether it's business or just life, you have to fail.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody fails, and so don't be scared of failure. Be more excited about the possibility of succeeding and what's going to happen. And if you fail, then that just means that wasn't for you, and that you maybe didn't listen completely, or maybe you needed that to get to the next level.
Yeah. And like, I know we're talking about the universe, but it's like whatever you believe in.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about, like that, having that bigger picture, that bigger vision, that something that's bigger than you, whether it's God, the universe, whatever you believe in, as long as there's something there. And let's see, Sakshi, hi, so true. Once you believe that whatever good or bad fortune may come our way, we can always give it meaning and transform it into something of value.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. Beautiful again, 100%, Sakshi. Thanks for watching and thanks for commenting. So I think on that note, like, if people want to hear more about you or wanted to come find you, like, what's the easiest way? I think I did put the link.
I am on Instagram and Facebook, Danielle Ufland-Westfield. It's hyphenated. The reason behind that is another beautiful story. I go by just Westfield was my married name, and when I got divorced, I thought, I don't want to pick up my children, and anybody asks why I'm there to pick up kids. I don't even have the same last name as me, so I decided to keep that name. But then when I decided to change my life and grow, I thought that as much as I want my kids to benefit from my legacy, I also wanted my family immediately to. So that was when I became hyphenated. And I was never hyphenated in marriage, but I'm hyphenated now because both of those names are family to me regardless.
I love that. I love that. So we're going to put the link to Danielle's group, I think.
Oh yeah.